Let's talk to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook, who joins the show now. Morning, Crookie.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
This is another one of those transfers, a bit like the Mateus Cunha one, isn't it? Which, we've been reading about. It seems like for weeks. How close is it to being done?
Well, I think that depends on Leverkusen. Now, Liverpool have made their initial offer. We understand in excess of £109 million there or thereabouts. Obviously not quite a British record fee, which is what Leverkusen were asking for. Certainly when Bayern Munich were at the negotiating table, the price was 126 million, but I think Liverpool always felt that a non-Bundesliga side would be able to negotiate down. The interesting element here is the potential of Liverpool players heading in the opposite direction. We know that Bayer Leverkusen are big fans of Harvey Elliott, in particular, who I'm told is a player Liverpool would be willing to sell for the right price this summer, and maybe Jero Quansah as well. I do expect this one to move this week. Liverpool trying to get their business done early. Obviously, they've already signed Jeremy Frimpong from the same club. He's big mates with Florian Wirtz. I'm sure that is an attractive proposition for the German international as well. And we could also see movement this week in their pursuit of Milos Kerkez, the left-back at Bournemouth. So the champions really looking to strengthen from a position of power, which is arguably what Manchester City didn't do this time last year.
I was going to say that, Crookie, with players leaving, because you've got Robertson, Tsimikas. You don't need three left-backs if Kerkez comes in, so one of those two left-backs will go. Harvey Elliott, not had enough game time on the slot. You get a decent fee for him. Nunes, that's guaranteed, isn't it, for him to leave for a decent fee, maybe Saudi Arabia. And also talk of maybe Díaz or Jota leaving. So they're going to recoup a lot of money, aren't they, Liverpool, on transfers?
Yeah, and one of the voices you heard in that package was Peter Moore, former Liverpool chief executive. He joined Sam Matterface and Troy Deeney and myself on the show on Friday morning, and he was saying, look, the way that FSG operate, if they're going to pay big money for a signing, then they're going to have to sell players as well. I think you're right about Darwin Núñez. Just hasn't worked out for him in the Premier League, and maybe there's a cautionary tale there when it comes to Victor Gyökeres, for example. Just because you've got a striker who tears it up in Portugal doesn't always translate into English football. Díaz is an interesting one because I don't think Liverpool are actively looking to sell him. He wants a new contract, he wants a pay rise, and I wonder if this is interest from Saudi Arabia that is genuine. He is wanted by the Saudi Pro League, could just help with him in terms of getting a new deal.
Well, they're going to bring a few quid in, and I emphasise a few quid, for Kelleher. I mean, £18 million. That strikes me as a bit of a bargain, Crookie.
I agree. I think this could be one of the best signings of the window. The surprise element here is that Brentford have had a clear run at Kelleher. When you look at the teams who need a goalkeeper, Manchester United, albeit I know it's difficult to go from Anfield to Old Trafford. Chelsea, I think he goes straight in there and be their number one. Bournemouth, not sure what they're going to do with Kepa Arrizabalaga yet, so I'm surprised he's not at the table. Forest have shown interest previously, but obviously Matt Sales had a terrific season. So the reason the fee is so low is because there isn't the bidding war that maybe Liverpool expected. He's only got a year left on his contract, Kelleher. I think they realise now that he's ready to be a number one. They don't want to hold him back. And, of course, they've got Mamardashvili coming in to compete with Alisson for the number one jersey.
Crookie, Man City now. Pep Guardiola has said he will leave if the squad isn't small enough. Isn't as small as he wants, but they're in for two players that they want signed before the Club World Cup starts.
Yeah, those two players are Rayan Cherki at Lyon and Reinders at AC Milan as well. Looks like they're not going to pursue their interest in Morgan Gibbs-White at this stage. That's good news for Forest fans. I think they feel that the fee Forest would command is a little bit out of their price range. Obviously, they walked away from the Wirtz deal as well. They said that was too expensive. Well, I sense they knew at that point that Liverpool was his preferred destination. But you're right, they are going to try and get these signings done before the Club World Cup. The reason we're talking about transfers today is because there is an earlier window than usual. It opened officially yesterday. It's open until June the 10th. Primarily to allow those clubs competing at the Club World Cup to get their signings made, and also in the case of people like Kevin De Bruyne, if he wanted to sign a short-term deal with Manchester City to play at that tournament, he isn't going to do that because he doesn't want to risk a future move. So I think we are going to see a lot of business done in the next 10 days.
I just want to drop a couple on you, Crookie. João Pedro, frozen out by Brighton in the last couple of games of the season. I think question marks about whether he'll be on the move, and also Matt O'Reilly is being linked with Everton.
Yeah, Matt O'Reilly, I think, has been frustrated at a lack of playing time this season. Brighton saw that as quite an exciting signing when they got it over the line. There was a lot of competition, not just from England, but from Europe as well. But as I say, he hasn't played as much as he would like. Brighton a bit like Liverpool, will cash in on players when they feel the time is right. And I think if they get a decent offer, then they will consider it. As you say, Everton, the latest club to show interest. I know Roma over in Serie A are big fans of Matt O'Reilly as well. So certainly I think he's one that could go between now and the end of the window. João Pedro is going to fetch a big fee. As you mentioned, he didn't play the final 2 games of the season. There was an altercation in training between him and Jan-Paul van Hecke. Brighton have been at pains to tell us that that's been dealt with behind closed doors. They expect him to come back and learn from that experience in the summer. But if they got a bid in excess of £70 million for a player who didn't really hit the heights in the Premier League this season, then I think they would be tempted to take it. The 2 clubs that have definitely inquired, Liverpool and Newcastle. Chelsea have been credited with an interest, but our sources at Stamford Bridge have played that down.
Quickly, sorry, Jeff. Quickly, what about Bruno Fernandes? Is it true that he's got till Friday to decide if he's going to make that transfer?
Well, he had until Thursday, then he had until the weekend, and now there's another deadline. They love to set these deadlines, the Saudi Pro League, but ultimately when Bruno Fernandes tells them he's ready to take it or leave it, that's the only true deadline. There was confidence coming out of Saudi Arabia last night. The talks between the Saudi Pro League and Fernandes' camp have been positive. I think at the moment he's still mulling it over with his family. Maybe they're not quite as keen to make that move. No official bid has gone to Manchester United yet. But the information we're getting is that if a big money offer is made and Bruno Fernandes says, look, I think the time is right for me to go, they will take it.
Take your correspondent's hat off for a moment, Crookie. Put your fan's hat on. Would you take the money if it's 100 million for Bruno?
I'm really torn on this, guys, because he's clearly United's best player. I think he's the one player you can put in the sort of top class, not necessarily world class, but certainly top class bracket. But he's 31 on his next birthday. £100 million would be a lot of money if they reinvest it properly and they make decent signings. And that's a big if, because you look at United's recruitment, probably for the best part of a decade now, it hasn't been fit for purpose. So I think if you can guarantee Manchester United fans that they're going to use the money to improve the squad, then reluctantly, maybe they would bid Bruno Fernandes a fond farewell.
Crookie, brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Martin in Newmarket saying, I totally agree that the idea of bands playing before big games is not acceptable before any games in actual fact. How about for big games, have kids playing a match from the local area? Leave the bands to the Olympics and the Super Bowl. Thank you very much indeed for that, Martin.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.